let me move on to Siddhant. Siddhant, we know that the all-party meeting called by the centre has recently concluded. Tell us more about that.
Well, it has been a packed day here in New Delhi. Of course, there is a lot of worry and concerns over the situation developing in the aftermath of Operation Sindoor, where we have seen how the Pakistani side is indulging in warmongering. Now, essentially what has happened since morning here in New Delhi is that the Indian NSA has met the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and we've also seen simultaneously an all-party meeting happening where the Indian Defence Minister Rajnath Singh briefed the various parties, and this is an ongoing operation, is the message by the Indian Defence Minister to the parties who are gathered. And of course much detail wasn't shared because the operation is still on, and of course we know that there have been a lot of reports coming, especially from the border areas, but there is no confirmation so far on it. You also asked about the diplomatic moves. We know that here in Delhi there are two foreign dignitaries who are present. The Iranian foreign minister, it was a pre-scheduled visit. Of course, there was a change in his arrival time because of the closure of the Pakistani airspace. He has met the Indian External Affairs Minister, and also the junior Minister of Foreign Affairs from Saudi Arabia. He met the Indian External Affairs Minister. The development comes at a time when globally we know that there is mounting concerns, and number of conversations have been happening. The UK, the P5 countries, along with countries from the West Asian region, have been engaging with both in Islamabad and New Delhi to diffuse the tensions. But it doesn't look like that there is any de-escalation. We know that the Pakistani side is raising the temperature, and if there is a major escalation from the Pakistani side, that could engulf the region in a much more worse situation.
Definitely, Siddhant, the tensions have been mounting, and we know that India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval has met PM Modi to discuss the current security situation, and the meeting lasted more than 50 minutes. And also, this was not the first meeting. These meetings have been quite regular about the briefing of the latest security situation. Now, help us understand the gravity of this diplomatic endeavor and what to expect.
Well, you know, there have been meetings after meetings happening here in New Delhi since the Pahalgam terror attack, and the message is clear that India will, of course, take the revenge, and this is something that is dominating the headlines here in New Delhi. Now, we do not know exactly what transpired in the conversation, but it is clear that it is the tensions in the region that will be part of the conversations between the top leadership, the Indian Prime Minister and the Indian NSA Ajit Doval. But we also know that the Indian NSA Ajit Doval has spoken to many of his counterparts from across the world, including US and of course from the West Asian countries like UAE and Saudi Arabia. He has established contacts with the Russians and the Chinese as well, and he's in constant touch with them as well. So essentially the Indian NSA in touch with his counterparts globally, but the Indian External Affairs Minister also engaging with his counterparts, not only here in Delhi, but telephonically. Yesterday he had telephonic conversation with the Foreign Minister of Qatar, France, Germany, along with other countries, including Japan as well. So expect those conversations to continue today as well. But there is a mounting concern in the region here in New Delhi about Pakistan's next step, which could create much more worries in the region.
Right, and Siddhant, meanwhile we know that Pakistan's armed forces has reportedly intercepted and downed 5 Indian Air Force fighter jets and a combat drone, and we know that there's been a lot of political rhetoric which is in place. So given that, how can we decipher this situation, and what can you tell us about that front?
Well, since last 24 hours, I have been monitoring the commentary coming from Pakistan. There is, of course, the social media commentary, which is unverified. But there are the briefings which have been happening, especially by the military. In fact, the Pakistani Prime Minister addressed the country twice, first in the parliament and then late in the evening at 10 p.m. Indian Standard Time. And something that has stood out is a lot of rhetoric that has come out. They have also made a lot of claims as well, including earlier today, making claims regarding Indian involvement in various blasts in the country. They have alleged a lot of things regarding it. There hasn't been any reaction coming from the Indian side, but I think it's primarily because the operation is still continuing. Of course, the Pakistani side would like to show that the region is right now in a terrible state of affairs, and this could be perhaps used by them to mount a strike in India, which is something that will lead to major escalations, something that the international community has warned against.
Right. Thank you so much, Siddhant, for getting us and our viewers up to speed about the latest developments. And we'll, of course, track all the developments going forward and as and when we get the updates. Thank you.